I was at work this past week, and I got into this little debate with these two girls, and you know, we started talking about something completely random, like how humans are born as herbivores, omnivores, all this and all that. So I gave my stance on that, and them two like kind of not attacked me, but they were going against me, like, no, we're born this way, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, fine, I don't care, no problem.
Right.
And you know, later on they were, you know, bagging on me because they thought that I was, you know, trying to put them down with the way I was saying stuff.
Right.
But it turns out that they were claiming that I was.
I know where this is going. Yeah.
They were claiming that I was something called mansplaining against them. I had no clue what this was. Now I do know. But the point is that I had no clue that this was a reality in today's social structure.
Right.
Because, I mean, I was, with my background, I grew up with two moms, two women figures in my life. This wasn't brought to my attention. So it turns out that I had a slight ignorance to this topic as well, but them also towards me, because they don't know where I'm from, they don't know my background, so they also were ignorant to the fact of how I was raised.
Right.
So what I'm trying to get at is, like, with success, you have to constantly evolve and constantly evolve your thinking. And if you want to build off of that success, you have to get past that ignorance that you know everything, right? You don't know everything. You're never going to know everything. So how do you continue to build off of that?
Right. Well, it's super key, right? I think ignorance is probably the one thing that keeps people and corporations behind all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think what starts happening is, like, I always talk about different forms of knowledge. Epistemology was called, right? So
right.
we know we don't know certain things. Right. Like I say, like, I don't know how to, I don't know, ride a jet ski. I don't know. I've never done, but I know I don't know that, right? And I know I can drive a car. I know that.
Yep.
But there's also a third world, which is the stuff I don't know. And I've talked about that before, and it's very important, right? There's a whole world. Because my world right now is just what I see. My world is Boston, where I'm from, my family, my friends, and that's it. Like, what happens, like, outside, like, I'm completely not privy to, right?
Right.
So that, just knowing that world exists is a form of enlightenment. What a lot of people just say is, like, hey man, that's my world, and outside there just isn't anything else.
Right.
There's nothing else, right? What I'm telling people is, like, know that you don't know that fact. I'll give you an example. So when I type in a new website on my browser, the first time I go on that website, the first ever time I go on a website, it takes a little time to load. Mm-hmm. It's like 3-4 seconds, whatever, depending on my speed. The second time I go on it, it's quicker, and the third, fourth time, it's just the loading speed is less and less and less. Why is that? Our computers, our browsers on the background, they store what's called cookies, and then you have your cache. So basically what it is,
I get it.
Your computer takes a photo of the website, and it says, okay, well, when that image shows up, I know which website it is, and it will just pull it up. Now, the problem with having a cookie in the cache is a lot of times it will make an error. So when you update your website a lot of times, sometimes I update my website. Like, I have a website, I update it, and I go on a website and it still shows me the old shit. And the reason being is my computer is like, well, I know what that's kind of like, so I'll just show you what I think it is, right?
Right.
Our minds are the same way. Our minds are the same way because it's like, all right, well, I know that experience, like the last time a guy tried to explain something to me, he was mansplaining. So Leandro, whatever he's saying, it's just mansplaining. I'm not going to even listen to what he says, right? And all I'm telling people is that you have to delete your cookies and restart your browser, go in incognito mode. I don't know what you got to do, but you have to do that in order to get more knowledge, because all of us are in the dark, to some extent or the others, right? And the only way to get out of the dark is knowing that you're in the dark. And a lot of people do not want to make that connection, right? And it's not just like me saying this. There's like data to prove it, right? So I was working with this gentleman. He started a new startup out of Silicon Valley, and what they do, they collect as much data as possible on people or on humans, and that database can make connections. So it can say, okay, well, you went to the doctor that time, this was you in a security camera, so if I make a link, you'll maybe get heart attack, and like, it can do this analytics, but it's all in the public domain, right?
Sure.
It blew my mind. But what he does, he has a contract with the Pentagon, and he has a contract with big corporations. And he's able to predict, the company's able to predict what is conducive to success for increasing market share for a company?
Right.
There's one thing. The one thing that was always there to help companies grow every year by year were those companies who are willing to reinvent they did things all the time. Companies that were static in their corporate culture, static in the way that they hired people, static in the way that they run their marketing, everything, they were not growing. They will just literally disintegrate. Right. So what works, this is another gem that I always say, is like what got you here is not going to get you there. It's just not. It's not possible, right? So my work ethic, the way I thought, how I spoke, if that got me to making $100,000 a year, it's not enough to get me to making $1 million a year. And this is the problem, because we get comfortable. Like, well, I was successful, with doing X to get 100,000. So I'll just the same shit to get to $1 million. But you don't get to $1 million because it takes a whole new level. Do you think like Warren Buffett was like, man, it's the 90s, I'm doing great, and I'm just going to stop learning about the markets? No, the markets changed, our entire economy changed, so he has to keep on like thinking and understanding the financial markets to keep on sustaining his wealth and generating new wealth. And a lot of us are just not willing to do that. We say, okay, well, I worked out and I got muscles by training, doing 40 pounds, so I'm going to keep doing 40 pounds. But what happens, you know what's crazy? When I train with the same weights I did when I was 18, I lose muscle. Isn't that weird? I used to gain muscle with that because my body's like, this is bullshit. This is so light.
With new cookies, you need to
delete that browser when you start from scratch. But not many of us want to do that because it's tiring and it's taxing and it's painful and it's not what our brains want to do. Our brains are designed to look for patterns, and once we have a pattern down, we're like, all right, that's it. I don't want to understand the situation. I don't want to listen to you. If you say a keyword in my mind, it's going to trigger the cookie. Right. You said something maybe about that. Maybe your body language was like that. And last time a guy did like that, she was like, oh, that was mansplaining. Maybe that was mansplaining, but you were not even doing it.
I barely said like.
But they triggered that cookie, right?
Right. Sounds like I have some bad cookies at work.
No, so it's super important. I think like rethinking what you know, and revisiting, and you'll even notice like as you go through your process of self-development, right? So like I do this a lot. So I will listen to like podcasts or books. Every year I read those same books again, and every time I get something new out of it. I'm like, man, I didn't get it that time. I didn't get it what Gary Vee was saying like 2016. But now I listen to the same videos and I get it. What happened, right? So it's the same thing, but you process it differently. And this is the thing, like people don't want to do that again. Like, oh, I already know it. You don't. You need to redo the same shit and go back because you don't know what you don't know. And the process that I always say is like, be humble, because you really don't know everything. You really just don't. There's a whole world out there. I have no clue what's going on in Malaysia or Nigeria or Chad. I have no clue. I'm here in Boston. Right. But if I say that this is just the world, that's bullshit. Like my growth will be stunted. Right. And that's the thing. You always got to be curious and know, hey, I don't know shit. I don't know shit. Right. I just know what I know, but I know there's stuff that I don't know.
But so that's the revelation I had this past week, is just that this ignorance is a real thing, and I think many people many people are ignorant, or let's classify something else as unaware.
Right.
Unaware. Let's just say unaware. Ignorant maybe might be a bit too harsh, but I was unaware of this phenomenon, and many people go throughout life unaware of what's around them.
Right.
And now we're talking about more personal development and success and ambition. I love that. We always coin that. What got you here is not going to get you there. No. You have to be aware of that there is more to accomplish.
Absolutely.
And then fill that gap.
Yep.
And another episode we talk about work ethic and good communication, all these things. It all ties into developing a stronger awareness of that there is more to achieve still.
Right.
And until you are aware of that, then you.
But it's dangerous too, because think about it. If you don't change the way you think, then your thought process, your cookie. Who gives us cookies? Who gives us that?
On a daily basis.
Right, but it's on a daily basis. It's TV. It's the media, it's social media, whatever you want to call it, fake news, whatever you want to call this shit, right? So it's the constant media is telling us what we should think. It should tell us how we should live our life. What is the concept of a loser? What's the concept of a winner? How we should dress? These are constantly bombarded to us. So if we constantly just take in information and we are static about it, we don't want to question it, then like our lives will be defined by the average.
Got it.
Right?
Yep.
So if the laws of averages is just the concept of like you are just what you're surrounded by, and if you don't question shit, you will end up exactly what the average mean is, right? Why is it that people from a certain demographic end up in the exact same social class? Like people in this country who are lower class usually end up lower class, people who are middle class end up middle class, upper class end up upper class. There's not a lot of social mobility out there. It's because people are static. They're like, I got these cookies, I'm just gonna act on them. Every time a guy approaches me, mansplaining, I don't want to deal with it, I'm out. Maybe you have some knowledge, maybe you could help her get a promotion. Maybe you could help her with a resume, but she's not gonna do that because, oh, mansplaining. So
Right.
now she's robbing herself from the opportunity to be great because her cookies by media told her, a guy that maybe dresses in black clothes is a threat to me.
Right.
You shouldn't do that because literally, like, the way to have social mobility is by saying, I want to destroy all the cookies. Because let's say the way I was born, like, not outside the country, I come from a really poor immigrant background. If I just let the cookies like be, I would be the exact same thing as most people in my country. They're not doing really well for themselves. I said I gotta delete all this shit because all I have is bullshit. I've been fed crap, so I gotta delete I can't do it once. Every time I go back, I gotta delete. Every daily, you gotta delete it.
Absolutely,
And that's the problem because you're robbing yourself from opportunity. That's like what we're getting at. It's not just to be a better person. It's actually to progress and be enlightened. Know what you don't know. You know that you don't know what you don't know.
That's great, man. That's great.